Hey guys, we got a request on Twitter from Swifty to talk about nuke boxes and really what's the purpose of them, how do we use them. There's a lot of different ways for them, but today what we're going to show you is how to transfer your nukes into a 10 frame, and then we'll go from there. So what we're going to do today is transfer our frames from our 5 frame nuke boxes over to our 10 frame, and then we're going to put a medium super on top, let them fill that thing up, and we're just going to go with that for winter. How do you do that? Super simple. If you're going to transfer frames from one box to another, you want to take them out, yes, and put them within 3 feet into a different box. Now, if you want to transfer them and move them someplace else or sell this nuke, you could do that. Just make sure that whoever's buying it's at least 3 miles away, if not more. And it's as simple as them bringing their box over. You are essentially selling them the frames and the bees and the queen. Okay? And that price will vary. We sell ours for about $125 to $150 depending on how the hive's doing. And we sell deeps right now, but what we've learned in Northeastern North Carolina is a lot of the folks like to just run mediums, and it's more sellable if we have medium frames to sell with bees and queens and all that. So next year we're going to switch to medium nuke boxes. We'll stack them, and when we stack them, that fills out their entire 10 frame, and they can just start rolling that way. We will sell the 5 frame, just one 5 frame nuke box by itself. It just kind of depends on what the person wants. When we go to transfer, what we're looking for is honey frames on the outsides of our box, honey resources, and then as we move in, we want to start building the brood up. So when I'm looking at these frames, I'm going to start by putting our resources on the outside, and then I'll start evaluating the frames, kind of rating them mentally, going, okay, this one has a little bit of brood, so it'll go next to a resource. The ones with lots of brood will go in the middle. And you want to keep that for winter, so that when they're making their ball, and it kind of looks like a football, and what they're going to do is they're going to transfer in and out of that ball, moving around to keep warm. So the middle of the ball will be the hottest as the outside gets cooler as you move out. So you want to keep that brood's nest together. And that's pretty much what's going to happen here, is I'm going to do that, and then as the broods start emerging, it will be empty cells, right? So they're going to want to move up, and as they move up, they'll eat their honey on that frame. They move up, they eat the honey that's all around it, and then they're going to continue moving up to your super, and they eat the honey in there, and that's how you survive the 3 to 5 months of winter that you have. So here, we really have a winter that's consisted of mud. We don't really get a whole lot of snow. So they're going to eat, they can go out, they can defecate, and then they'll come back, and they'll just kind of keep that cycle of, keeping themselves warm until spring finally arrives. Now, this is the setup we have now. As spring approaches and we're able to get back into the hives, we're going to rearrange them again. But right now, the middle of the frames will be brood, and then we'll work our way to resources on the outside. And you want only resources on the top, so as they move out or up, they have something. Now, I'll show you during the winter the hot spots in the hive, and you'll see where the sun is hitting. The bees, you'll actually see them move towards that side of the hive. So if you have resources on the outside, if you have the sun hitting on one side during one part of the day, they'll move over there, they'll eat, and then as it moves, they'll move with it and they'll move to the other side and eat. So it's a constant back and forth and front and back with them. It's kind of fun, but you'll see that in one of our winter videos. So as you can see, one of the first frames we put in, this one's actually empty, and it's one that we had in a freezer because we had some small hive beetles. So I'm just putting that in as a precaution so that they have something to pull out and to work with. And here's what our inner cover looks like. I'm just going to go ahead and give this a swift tap. Let those guys get in there. And I'll lay that at the front. Alright, so some of the things we want to use nuke boxes for. Number one, making new queens or selling hives. Sometimes it's and selling hives. New queens are pretty easy because if you're not trying to learn how to graft this year, or that's in the future, but you still want to have queens as extras, put that over there. If you want extra queens, this is the perfect way to do it. You take your main hive that you have, take a couple of frames, and take your queen out with those frames and put it in a nuke box. Your main hive will make a new queen. They'll probably make 4 or 5 new queens, and boom, you got new queens. Can you do it the opposite way? Yes. You can leave your queen in your main hive, and then you put a couple of frames with eggs and capped brood. The capped brood is just so your population will keep going. Your eggs are so that they can pull out a queen. You want eggs, not small larvae, because you want to be able to put into your queen calendar the actual dates of when you should be expecting queens, when they should be capped. You should be keeping track of all that. And queen calendars are really easy. If you go to our blog, we should have a queen calendar or a link to one in our blog. The other thing you can do is just Google it. They're all pretty much the same. Remember, your eggs are 3 days old, and then you got your larva that's more than that. So 3-day-old eggs is what you're looking for, and the bees will sense within 5 hours that they don't have a queen, and they will start pulling out a new one. And that's wonderful for you because you'll start getting a lot of queen cells. And when you do that, you can cut them out, you can put them in different hives, you can do whatever you want with them. This has a little bit of nectar in it, no queen. I'm going to set this here. Now when it comes to spring, this frame will be coming out because I don't want a ton of varroa in my hive. So what that means is the drones are the primo spot for varroa to lay more varroa, because your drones take longer to emerge, and when something takes longer to emerge, that means that the varroa have more time to lay more and more and more. We don't want that. Now what you can do as a beekeeper is you can put that green frame in. They'll lay a ton of drones in that, and then you just take that out and cull the whole frame essentially, and that will minimize the amount of varroa you have in your hive. So this is the 4th frame. It's got brood on it, so I'm going to go ahead and place that in. It's pretty close to the middle, being the 4th frame. I did not see a queen on there. And this is the middle bottom of my brood box, or my nuke box here. It should have the most brood, and possibly the queen on it. And that's what we're looking for. But technically I would just be picking these things up and slamming it in the box, not like really looking for anything, because I know with the fact that I see eggs here, the queen has been here within the last 3 days, so we're still looking good. But yeah, we got brood and resources here. Very happy. And I don't see any queen cells, which makes me happy as well. Okay. And we're starting to get some weird comb. Sorry, guy. I did not squish, I just kind of messed with them a little bit. Alright. There's your queen. She's in the middle of the frame. Let's see. Yep, right in the middle. She's crawling around. If you see her, leave us a comment. If you don't, wait a couple seconds here and I'll put a circle around her. But she's walking around. She's towards the bottom now. But whenever you watch these videos, you should, if you're watching any of them with queens that are in the frame of your TV or phone, try and pause it and actually find her. That just gives you some practice for when you go out to your hives, because as a beginner beekeeper it's very difficult to find them unless you have them marked. And even when we first started and we had them marked, we'd struggle to find them. And remember, the markings go with time of year, or not time of year, sorry, with each year. So it's an international queen rearing code, essentially. I don't really follow it anymore because I don't need to mark my queen or know how old she is, because I take pretty good notes. If there's an issue, then I'll go ahead and I'll just note it that maybe we lost a queen or something like that. I can tell just by looking at my notes how old the queen is. I don't need a mark to tell me. Okay. Got a squirrel up in the tree just knocking down pecans. I keep thinking somebody's walking up on me. So nuke boxes. Alright, shelf life. I'll finally get around to answering Swifty's question. Shelf life, they're good for as long as you can keep them in the nuke box. So remember, it's only about 5 frames, right? And the one I'm combining now was 10 because I had them stacked 5 on 5. But shelf life is really, as long as you're inspecting them, I'd say once a week. As a new beginner beekeeper, once a week, inspect that nuke. That way it doesn't have a chance of running away on you. You don't want them swarming. Try and get that in there. You don't want them swarming. So how do you prevent that? You keep looking for signs of swarming, number 1, and number 2, you want to make sure that they're not putting more honey in than they need. So if you think about it, you got resources and you got a brood's nest. Well, if you have 1 frame of brood, have 1 frame of honey, essentially. And when you do that, your bees will survive, I promise you. There'll be no issues. So now I got that other nuke box, right? This is going to make it real easy. Got a bunch of bees in it. Come off. You got to be smarter than the box sometimes. What we're going to do, real simple, flip it over, right? And then one swift tap. And then you want to take your nuke box and walk it away. So what's happening here is all the forager bees are trying to come back to this stand. That's good, because what they're going to start doing is smelling that their hive is actually over here. And we'll see it on the front. Nasonov glands will say, hey, we moved a little bit. So Nasonov glands are when the little bee here puts her butt way up in the air. Right now her butt's down. All right. So if her butt comes way up in the air and you start seeing wings beat real hard, that's them putting off Nasonov gland that says, hey, we moved. So what we'll do is we will seal this bad boy up. And then over the next hour or so, they'll all come from here and move over there. Now the best thing I could do is actually just move this in front of this hive, and then they'll orient to this and start coming right into the hive. So let's see, what else can we use nuke boxes for? Shelf life is as long as you want, as long as you can control them. Beekeepers can't really control bees, but you can do things to stop them from causing you issues. Okay? One of them is removing the queen. If you remove the queen, they'll stay. How long are they going to stay? Up to 20 days. You know, because a queen will, from being laid to emerge, 16 days. So if you can get in there in the 16 days and leave yourself with one queen or two queens, then you won't have any sort of like swarming situation go on. Look at all these. Let me take the camera. I'm going to walk you around because I want you to see something else. Okay. How do you know that your bees are doing all right? That's how you know. Lots of pollen. That means that there's a queen in there that's laying, and they need to feed the eggs, the larvae, everything. And they're preparing for winter. Put this here. Let you see what's going on. Alright, this is a great sign. So now that I got it in a 10 frame, well, number one, let's talk about why. Okay? I'm going to try and get this to stop moving. There we go. I put it in a 10 frame because we're coming up on winter, and what I'm going to do is let her really build this out. And when she builds out this 10 frame with all brood and resources, when spring comes along, because I'll keep them alive, and when spring comes along, I'm going to split. And I'll probably split this into 2 different nuke boxes. Okay? And I'll put the queen up in the medium, and I'll let her lay. And when she's laying and going crazy, the 2 nuke boxes will pull out new queens. And what I can do is I can take some of the queens out of those nuke boxes and replace them in hives that are struggling. If I have any that struggle during winter, I can make new hives, and I can sell the medium frames that I have to the people around me, make back some money, and all those extra nukes that I have are now, you know, you talk to your wife or whoever your beekeeping friend is and say, hey, what do we want to do? How many hives do we want in the apiary this year? And if it's only 5, you've now doubled the amount of hives you had, and you can sell off the extras. And I'll show you over here again. So there's more foragers coming back, but they're starting to walk their way over to where the actual hive is now, the new spot. So this is within 3 feet, and that's why they say, you know, move your hive 3 feet or 3 miles. That top's not on, but 3 feet, 3 miles. So this is within 3 feet. They're gonna move from where the sourwood sign is over to the 10 frame pretty quick, because they're gonna start smelling that there's nothing else here, and they're gonna smell their queen and the rest of their hive colony over on the other box. And this box is gonna be basically just for winter. Like I said, we'll get 2 nukes out of it for sure, and then that top box there we'll basically put on its own with maybe another medium, and we'll sell that to somebody in the area that wants one. And that's how you make some money, and that's how you keep your bees alive. So sustainability, what you want to do is each spring go ahead and split your hives, and you can either sell what you split or replace what died over the winter. And I think that's the most I can give you as far as what we do here. And it's pretty awesome, because this is a big part of beekeeping, right? Is sitting outside and watching your hives. Grab a glass of wine. That's what my wife likes to do. Or a beer if you're me. Or mead if you also make mead. And you're going to sit here and watch, and what you're looking for is pollen coming in, and then Nasinoff gland, which you might see right there. It's kind of not a great aspect. Let me get up in the way a little bit. You can kind of see the butt's up. It's not perfect, but it's up. It's actually looking like now she's given up. She's just fanning at this point. Oh, no, it's the other bee. There we go. That's an Nasinoff gland right there. Whenever you have a new queen or you've moved, your bees will do that. And it's pretty cool, because that just tells all the other bees, hey, this is where we're at now. All right, easy peasy, guys. Moving bees from a double nuke box into a 10 frame. Talked about how that wasn't on all the way, so now it's fixed. I did move the stand, because the stand is always going to have the bee smell on it from the nuke box being there. So I just moved it a little bit closer. That just starts walking the bees over towards this hive. I put this on top, but this will only last for a minute, because I'll knock the bees off and I'll take it away. The more you take these things away that have the bee smell on it, the more that they're just going to be attracted to this. And we're just talking about foragers. All your nurse bees and everything else is in here. Your queen's in here, your resources. So even if the forager bees kept coming back to this spot and even landed on the ground here and never got back to this hive would still survive, because more bees would emerge and then everybody would get promoted, you know? So that's that. If you have any questions about nuke boxes and how we use them, I mean, they're very versatile, highly configurable, as my boss in my other job likes to say. So that's what you need in your apiary. If you only have 2 hives and you think one of your hives is going to swarm, split it to a nuke box. Always have one as an extra. And I would highly suggest having a second one just as like a quiet box, because whenever we find a queen, we like to stick it in its own nuke box while we finish the inspection, so that we know if we crush anything in here, it's not going to be the queen, because she's in our quiet box, you know. And that's just a box that has a bottom. You put, or like you screw on bottom, and you put the queen in there, and you can just cover it with burlap or a top cover or something, just to protect her. And let us know if you have any questions about nuke boxes, and I hope you're able to, be sustainable. You don't want to keep buying bees. I mean, that's what we want you to do, because you come and buy our bees, and our bees are super nice. We don't have any hives that really sting you unless it's August. In August, we have a dearth here, and I get stung every year in August. Once September hits and the goldenrod blooms, I don't get stung anymore, and in spring I don't get stung. So I really have to watch myself in August and not get complacent. But see, I got one right on my hand, the bee fist. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Leave us some comments. That only pushes the video out to other people. And then hit that like button. Thanks for watching.
Mm-hmm.